Hi everyone, welcome to Hucknall in Nottingham for another hockey chat. It's been a while since the last one, nearly a couple of months I think, so you are all welcome. Just let a few more people join in, and if you are joining in, could you please retweet the link? I've just put it up on Twitter, so I'd be most grateful if you could do that. In fact, I will do that myself from my iPad. How is everybody? I hope you're all enjoying the World Championships, and I think there'll be a lot of World Championship talk tonight. Questions that did come through. Quite an Great Britain and the World Championships, and then a few are on Panthers and the Elite League. Not had any on the Elite Series, so if you have got any questions, do put them in the chat. The live chat should be to the right of your screen, and I will pick them up from there. Or if you just want to put them on Twitter, that is fine as well. But we will kick off very shortly. I'll just let a few more people join, and then we will be underway. I'll just get this retweeted out a couple of places. And then we will crack on. Just 2 secs. Okay, there we go. All right, let's crack on. And the first half will be all Great Britain related questions. As I say, we've had quite a few of those in today. And the first one comes from Harvey. It's at HarveyHay10 on Twitter. And he says, will this fantastic performance by Team GB put UK hockey firmly on the map for potential good quality imports to come and want to play in the Elite League? I think it already did, to be perfectly honest. I think when the 1920 season, after Great Britain played in their first World Championship campaign, a lot of imports had seen that, and I think that attracted them to Great Britain because they knew that hockey was actually played here and to a very good standard, hence as being in the top group of the World Championship. So I think that will probably continue. Obviously, there's questions around COVID and whether more imports will want to come over or if they want to risk coming over. And there's probably a question linking into that about the World Championships a little bit later on. But I think good quality imports will still want to come here. I suppose the question is how many are going to be allowed over the next couple of months. The Elite League do really need to announce what the import limits are going to be. Hi, Andrew. Hope you're well. So on that basis, I think that there has been good quality imports. You only have to look at in the 1920 season, the likes of Sam Hare, who came straight out of the AHL, and we've had good quality imports in the past. So I don't think that will change. I think the biggest benefit that Great Britain has is the fact that it's an English-speaking nation, and with most of our imports coming from North America, I think that helps a lot. And I think the university deals as well also help a lot in recruitment in that way. So I can't see any change in the quality of imports coming over. For me, the big question is how many imports are the Elite League going to allow? So I think that's it for me, but thanks for your question, Harvey. Next couple of questions relate to Liam Kirk. James Thrower at James Thrower 13 on Twitter says, why is Liam Kirk so damn good? And Michael Cook at MD Cook 94 says, where do I think Liam Kirk will end up next season? Liam Kirk, why is he so good? He just is. He's just an incredibly talented player. And he's a player I've been looking up to see quite a bit of through my work in hockey media, from juniors to Great Britain under 18s, under 20s, and them sort of tournaments. Thing about Liam Kirk is, I've said this before, he has a very mature head on his young shoulders. But not only that, he's a leader, and I think he's showing that in this World Championship. He's got the ability to drag a team up, and I saw it so many times with the Great Britain under 18s and under 20s when they were in trouble, when things weren't going quite well. on the ice, he'd be the one who would step up and make things happen. And that's the ability that he's got. I can honestly see Liam Kirk being a future captain of Great Britain. I think when Jonathan Phillips finally does decide to take a step back and retire, I think Kirk could be a very, very good candidate to take over the captaincy because he is a proper leader. Rob Wilson's coaching at Peterborough Peaks, I think that has helped him a lot. Somebody familiar as well, somebody he would have known probably from the Steelers days. I think before he joined Peterborough, I think Rob Wilson said that he was very, very keen to take him in the OHL, and he's done very well. And he showed in the Elite Series first with the amount of points he scored. And now he's showing in this World Championship the quality he has. He's just really, really come on. He was an excellent player when he left Great Britain. He's an absolutely superb player now. Paddy O'Connor, yes, a big Steelers connection there at the Peterborough Peaks. But I think he has got the ability. Will he make the NHL? Let's see. I think that depends where he ends up next season, and that goes on to Michael's question: where do I think Liam Kirk will end up next season? I think if he wants to sort of keep his NHL dream alive, I think he probably has to stay in North America, which you're probably looking at an AHL contract if he gets offered. And I think if he impresses in this tournament, the chances of that increase substantially. And of course, he is impressing in this tournament. The other thing is, if Arizona do give up his rights, will he be invited to training camps with other NHL teams? I suspect he will be. I did notice that on the coverage of the Great Britain-Belarus game yesterday, there was some very, very interesting conversation between Aaron Murphy and Paul Adey, where they mentioned that it was actually good that he was at Arizona because it gives him more of a chance. Whereas if he was with a top NHL team, he probably wouldn't get much of a look in. But with Arizona being one of the sort of bottom NHL teams, it may give him a more of a chance to break into that roster, which I thought was a very interesting point that was made by both of them. Elite Prospect says he was linked to Mora IK in Sweden. Yeah, but I think they're Allsvenskan. I think he's better than Allsvenskan, to be perfectly honest. Andrew said KHL possibly. I suppose that's a possibility, the KHL. I think for his style of play, I think the DEL or possibly the SHL, maybe even the Finnish Liga, would suit his style of play better because he's a very skilled stick handler, very skilled player. So I think he would do well in those leagues. He's infinitely better than the Elite League. I think we can all agree on that. And I just hope that he does get his shot at the NHL. And with what he's doing in this World Championship so far, that's exactly what he's doing. But I'll hand it over to you guys watching. Where do you think he will end up next season? Let us know in the comments. What did Bradley say? Do we pay on a level with the AHL? I think that depends. I think there is a veteran rule in the American Hockey League, which is why we do get players coming over here because they're too old to play in the AHL, or they certainly have a limit of the number of people that they can have on an AHL roster. As for pay, I have no idea. I don't know what people get paid over here. I can only guess, but I don't know any exact figures, and I don't know the figures that they get paid in the AHL. I think it depends if they have an NHL contract or a two-way contract that can substantially increase the wages that they get paid. But then it'll probably be their NHL team that will be paying those wages as regards to the AHL team. So I think it depends a lot on that, to be perfectly honest. Next question comes from Bob Starr. He's at who_am_I as in that, not I the letter, on Twitter. And he says, which GB defenseman have you been impressed with so far? Well, Just Tatlow's been excellent, and David Clements has been excellent as well. Both had very, very, very good tournaments. Both carrying over the excellent form they showed in the Elite Series over to this tournament. And considering it's both of their debuts at this level, they've taken to it like a duck to water, and it bodes well for the depth in defence that we do have. I mean, don't forget that Evan Mosey and Steve Lee haven't gone to this tournament. So it just goes to show that we have got a really, really good depth of quality in the defensive ranks. But they are the two who have impressed me most so far, especially Josh Tatlow. For those that don't know, Tatlow had 11 games in Finland earlier in the 2021 season. And I think that's really helped his game. It's certainly helped his skating. His skating is far, far better than it was. Shot blocking as well has been excellent. I totally agree with that, Reese. Totally agree. And one thing that he did, I noticed he was doing it in the Elite Series. He started to use his size and his reach to reach around and try and poke the puck away. I think it's something that he's probably been guilty of not using the size that he has available to him. He's doing that now, and I think that's really brought his game on. But Tetlow has been excellent, and David Clements, who's really come from probably a third-line defensive player with the Coventry Blaze, was quarterbacking their power play in the Elite Series, played so well that he's got himself onto this Great Britain roster, and he's playing really, really well for Great Britain. And I think, Clements has been a revelation. He absolutely has. And I think, I just think that he's done so well. Both him and Tetlow are the two who've impressed me. And I think the fact that they've taken their chance and they've grabbed it with both hands speaks volumes about both of them, and they both deserve an enormous amount of credit for not only taking their opportunity but running with it as well. And I know Tetlow's re-signed in Nottingham, but I wonder if Guy Doucette and Tim Wallace are probably a bit worried that they might not hold on to him, because I would think there'll maybe some continental clubs sniffing around him after the showing he's made in this tournament. We will have to wait and see. Chris Lovell with the next question. He says, given how the younger guys have done at the World Championships, Tetlow and Clements, for example, is it about time all British hockey governing bodies put a serious plan in place for bringing through and blooding new players? Yes, it is. There needs to be something really that identifies where the next crop of players are coming from. In previous ones of these, I've mentioned Jack Hopkins, who is a youngster who's come through the Nottingham junior system, has been playing for the Nottingham Lions in various tournaments over the spring. An absolute natural goal scorer. Talking to the coaches there, he is regarded as one of the best players in the country at his age group. He needs to be now being nurtured, that not only does he stay in the game, but he's then nurtured to be able to take his place, as I think he has the ability to do, the way he is developing in the Great Britain team in the future. He's just 16 at the minute, but has scored a shed load of goals and assists for the Nottingham Lions in what is his first stab at senior hockey. And he's done brilliantly. He's done so well. But I think there's probably several players like that around the country in various junior systems. Now, unfortunately, I'm not seeing any junior hockey for the past 2 seasons, because obviously everything's been cancelled because of COVID. Normally, I'd be at the conference and at the national finals, and you'd be able to see who's coming through. Not seeing that, so I don't really know who's coming through or who's showing the real promise at the moment. But Jack Hopkins would be one for me that we need to keep an eye on. But to go back to Chris's question, a series plan does need to be put in place for bringing through and blooding new players. How you do that when you compare the British players to how continental players and North American players go through their junior systems, it's very difficult. Lack of ice time being a huge question, and something that we do suffer with in this country, to be honest. But I think if there was a way, or some way of identifying players who could make the grade and then nurturing them so that they are ready for that step up, all well and good. I do know that Jack Hopkins played in Germany in an under-17 league. the start of the 2021 season. And again, is that something that more players need to do? Do they need to play on the continent or play in North America in order to get that grounding? We will have to wait and see. But yes, agree with what you're saying, Chris. There needs to be something put in place, but what, how, and who, that's obviously the big question, and obviously who decides as well. Bradley Brooks at Bradders Brooks on Twitter has the next question. He says, are the majority of the teams in the World Championships weaker than normal? For instance, how is Sweden doing so badly? Lost again tonight, 4-2 to the Czech Republic in Great Britain's group. I know NHL playoff players missed the championships, but there have been a lot of unusual results. There have. But of course, the NHL playoffs have started a lot later this year. So we're still in the first round of the playoffs, where normally at this time you'd certainly be in the second round going towards the conference finals as a rule, in fact, going towards the Stanley Cup final. And I think because everything's been pushed back later, that's why the teams are slightly weaker. The thing with COVID as well, I think this was the case with the Canadian team. They was looking for more European-based players because it was just easier to form a squad that way. Also, there's been very few warm-up matches, which won't have helped as far as getting line combinations correct. And I think you saw that with Canada in their first two games, that they just had no warm-up games, so they just didn't know who they were passing to. They looked very, very rusty. So I think that's probably why, in a nutshell. I do know that I think they are trying to get other players through from teams that have been knocked out of the NHL playoffs. I believe Russia are bringing Vladimir Tarasenko over from St. Louis Blues. But I also believe that they have to quarantine for 6 days, which isn't ideal. Excuse me. So you can't get them over quickly. You can't get them into the team quickly. And I think that probably plays a part as well. So, no, I don't. I think the teams are probably weaker as such and what they would normally be. However, I think the lack of preparation time as well has probably not helped all of the teams. I mean, Great Britain as well. No warm-up games, just a training camp in Coventry before they went out over to Latvia. So I think, yes, they are definitely weaker than what they would normally be. But I guess we can only really compare that if things do return to normal over the next year, and we can compare it with next season's World Championship. So we'll see from there. Next question, another one from Michael Cook at MD Cook 94. He says, what's my thoughts on Panthers business so far? Possibly the lack of preparation of other teams has helped us. Yes, I would probably agree with that, Andrew. I would probably agree with that. But I suppose then you've got to look at it as a Great Britain build on this, which is great, and try and set themselves up so that they can stay at this top level. Obviously, no relegation this year, but I think one of the big things with Great Britain as well is the fact that the majority of the squad played in the last World Championship, so they've had that experience. They know what to expect from it now. And I think that's really helped them. They know the focus and the commitment they have to put in and the effort. And while on paper we are far behind a lot of the teams there, we make up for that in effort and just commitment. The commitment that the players have shown has been absolutely phenomenal. And I think that's why we're getting results. And that's why we got a result yesterday. The effort and commitment against Belarus was absolutely sensational. The same against Denmark. In fact, all 4 games, obviously Russia were a lot better quality, which is why they won so handsomely. But it wasn't for the lack of effort on Great Britain's part. Our speed has improved, yes, definitely. And that's one thing actually I noticed in the Elite Series was how fast it was skating-wise. It was really, really quick. I didn't notice any difference between that and what would be a supposedly normal Elite League roster. I was really impressed by the speed that the team showed on there. And I think that's translated over into the national team almost certainly. Just back to that Michael Cook question. So what's my thoughts on Panthers business so far? Really happy with it. I think team building's gone well. Really happy we've got Steve Lee back. Really happy we've got Josh Tetlow and Ollie Bettery signed up. I think two of our of the better imports from the Elite Series in Deming and Boyvan re-signing, I think has really put a good look on the roster so far. So I'm very, very happy with it as it is. Obviously, I'd like to see what happens with netminding. Obviously, will Curling sign? Are we going to sign another two netminders? Will Ben Bounds come back? That's another question I think that needs to be asked. I think a duo of Ben Bounds and Jackson Whistle I would be extremely happy with going into next season. But we will see what happens. Obviously, a long way to go with team building. A lot of the other teams have to start building their sides as well, so we can start making comparisons. But overall, very, very happy with the way that that team building has started and roster building has started at the Panthers, and glad to see that players want to return as well, which is something that's probably not happened too much in the past. And I know it was something that Neil Black was complaining about 18 months ago, the fact that we couldn't keep imports. So it's great to see that imports want to come back to Nottingham now, which is great. Next question from Eric Holland, who's at, I think it's Rightier Man. I don't know how that's pronounced, but that's what it says, I think. He's a Steelers fan, and he says 12 months ago, there was criticism that Steelers were signing their team early without the season confirmed. Now Panthers lead the signing race. Is it now the right time to put together rosters? Well, yes. I mean, one thing that is very different between now and this time last year, we was in lockdown. COVID had started. Everything was still up in the air. Nobody knew what was happening. There was no vaccine. I think that's why Steelers did get a bit of criticism for when they signed their roster, because it was giving fans false hope in a way. I think that's what a lot of people felt at the time. I think now the league have already said when the season will start. Everything seems to be opening up again. Everything is unlocking. People are going out again. I think nearly 50% of the country has now had a double dose of vaccine. So that's going in the right direction. And I think there is now just a hope that something can happen, and there's more certainty in that something will happen, with the league already giving a date of when the action will start. So I think, yes, it has to be the right time now to put together rosters, because we're nearly in June. It's June next week. Season starts in September. That most teams are now well into their team building. So yes, I think it is absolutely the right time to start putting together rosters, because I think there is definitely cause for optimism with regards to the season starting with the way things are at the minute. Everything just seemed to be, fingers crossed, touch wood, getting better, and I really hope that we can start again. That leads me into another Michael Cook question, who says, have I renewed my season ticket? Yes, I have. I renewed it the day they went on sale, for the simple reason that renewing my season ticket after they didn't go on sale last year gave me a bit of hope. It gave me something to look forward to, and it was something that, after everything that we've been through, it was something that offered a slice of normality, that in September we'd be going back to watch the hockey at the arena, and so yes, I was straight on to renew my season ticket. I can't wait. It's been far too long. I've really missed it, especially since November. Really missed it, and I've loved going to see the Lions and commentate on the Lions, but I really can't wait to get back to an arena that will have a crowd in it and watch the Panthers. Last week, I've been working at Notts Cricket on their live stream on camera, and there was crowds back in for the 4-day game that took place last week, and it was so nice just to have a bit of atmosphere and have people around again. It just felt like things were starting to get back to normal, and it's a great feeling, great cause for optimism. It was lovely. So yes, so I renewed my season ticket. As the break brought my enthusiasm, yes, in spades, tenfold. Not at first. I didn't miss it at first, but I think I needed the break from hockey after pretty much watching hockey non-stop for 3 seasons. I just think I needed a break away from it. So when it came back, I couldn't wait. I think everybody saw how giddy I was when I did that first Lions commentary and how enthused both me and Chris Gadsby were on that. So yeah, I've really missed it, and I cannot wait for it to start again. And it's been great watching this World Championships to see Great Britain doing so well, because that's another great cause for optimism. It's been wonderful to watch. So yeah, it has enthusiasm has come back tenfold. And it's a nice feeling to feel really enthusiastic about hockey once again. It really is. Final question. So if anybody's got any more questions, please do pop them in the chat on the right hand side. Happy to discuss them as we're coming towards the end now. But Max Artist at Hotshot6004YT says, what hockey content do you consume? Podcasts, YouTube, being in hockey media yourself? I've got to be honest, I don't listen to a lot of podcasts. I tend to sort of pick and choose ones that look interesting. So, for example, the Cam and Strip podcast with Cam Jansen, I listened to the one that they did with Brian McGrattan, which was excellent. I listened to quite a few of the 4,000 and Counting podcasts as well. They are really good, really interesting. Some great stories in those. So I highly recommend those. Ken Abbott, I listened to his Old Time Hockey podcast. There are some superb guests on that. There was a 2-parter with David Sims recently, and I know he's not everybody's cup of tea, but that was absolutely brilliant. There was some great stories in that. And you know, Dave Sims is a bit like Marmite. You either love him or you hate him. But yeah, that is, I highly recommend listening to that. That was superb. But as regards podcasts, that's probably it. I've got into the Peter Crouch podcast on BBC, which is very good if you like football. I can recommend that one. On YouTube, I tend to sort of look on YouTube at different things. So, for example, if there's a few highlights, 4K's up. What about Gary? I haven't listened to the Gary Newbon one yet, but I know everybody who's listened to it has said it's really good. So I need to find time to have a listen to that. What's that? What's my wife put there? Lucy asks, what are you working about? I think she probably means talking about. Lucy's my daughter. She's 6. Tell her I'm talking about how Panthers beat the Steelers in the Elite Series. That caused her to cry and call Panthers cheat. She was not happy with that. Did not help by me laughing when she came out with that as well. As for other hockey content, so yeah, YouTube. I like a lot of written stuff as well, and I do like documentaries. So I've been desperately looking for documentaries on like Netflix and Prime for hockey. I think there's a couple on there, but I'm not had a chance to watch them. But I love documentaries in the style of like Sunderland Till I Die, or for anybody who's seen that, or if anybody's into wrestling, the WWE documentaries on The Undertaker. I think the last ride it was called, that was absolutely superb. So I do love watching things like that. So if there was anything like that on hockey, yeah, Peter Crouch podcast is brilliant. I really do enjoy it. So yeah, so a hockey one. You know what I would love to see? You know, what was it? NHL 24/7 when they used to do the road to the Winter Classic and things like that. I'd love to see something like that at playoff weekend here. That would be absolutely outstanding. What's that? BT Films are good. Is that on BT Sport, Andrew? Because I haven't got that. That's about the only service I've got. I've got Sky, I've got Prime, I've got Netflix, Disney Plus, everything like that. You even got Apple TV, but I got that for free. So there's a good podcast called Sofa King Podcast that does different topics. You should check out 3 episodes a week. It's finding time. I think that's the problem. Is actually finding time to do it, because a lot of the work I do when I'm at home is writing, and I really need to concentrate on it. So I can't really listen to anything because it will just disrupt my train of thought, especially if I've done interviews which are for the articles which I have to listen to. So it's very difficult to listen to podcasts while I'm working here. It tends to be when I go out for a walk or something, I'll listen to them, or if I'm on a long drive. So that's basically what I listen to, and what I watch, and obviously things on YouTube. One of my favourites on YouTube is looking at like old hockey. So that I think there was someone who was putting like old Panthers games from the old barn on YouTube over lockdown, and some of them are fantastic. And if you want to see what. Get an idea of what that place was like to watch hockey, which was sensational. Have a look through that. Okay, that's all the questions. So if anybody has got anything else, just pop it in the chat. I'll hopefully do another one of these in the near future. Not sure when. Depends on my work schedule. Dave, I'm going to tell you. I've just done a piece, but actually for the next issue of Fresh Cut magazine, I have done a piece on British podcasts, and I covered Hockey from Across the Pond, My Fantasy Zamboni, which is David Grant's, and 4,000 Accountants. So look out for that if you are a subscriber to Fresh Cut magazine. If not, get over to freshcutmag.com and sort your subscription out. Andrew Williamson, what are your thoughts on Leeds, and do you think Elite League is on the horizon? Horizon's a difficult one. I think they're going to need another couple of seasons to establish themselves at National League level first, to be perfectly honest. I think they made a very good move in getting Steve Nell in as their general manager, because I think he will take them forward. I think that what they've got to concentrate is filling that rink night in, night out. I think once they do that, then they can possibly think about the Elite League, but is that rink big enough? And I think that's the big question you have to ask. Excuse me. Talking so much gives me a right tickle. The signing of Dave Williams, yeah, that's a really good sign. Surprising out of left field signing as well. I think he will do very well for them. I suppose he may need some help with the current crop of British talent that needs to go there, but we all know that Dave Whistle is an excellent coach. So from that respect, I think that's a very, very good signing for them. We'll probably see Brandon Whistle go there. I wouldn't be surprised. Jackson Whistle, I think Jackson Whistle is far too good for the National League. I think we'd all agree with that. And I want him to stay at Panthers, so keep your hands off your son, Dave, in the nicest possible way. We need a Dublin team. There's been rumours for years. Imagine the madness. Yeah, it does a bit thinking about, but can you imagine a Belfast-Dublin game? That would be something else, wouldn't it? Thing is, and obviously there's no rink in Dublin, but as Brexit probably put paid to that idea, certainly for the foreseeable future. We will see. We will see, but that is one that has been rumoured for a long time. Do I think Farmer will sign for Panthers? No, I think Robert Farmer is retiring from what I can pick up, which is a massive shame because he's a player I hugely rate. But I believe from what I can pick up, he's looking at another career option. Good luck to him. He'd be a big loss to British hockey, a great player, but he obviously has to do what's right for him and he has to look after his family. So, yeah, good luck to him in whatever he chooses to do. I hope he does come back. I would love to see him back at the Panthers, but I don't think it's happening. I think he's going to retire from what I can pick up. A Northeast team would be good. Love to see a team back in Durham again. Wouldn't that be fantastic? A real former hotbed of the sport. Obviously, they've got to build a rink, but I think if they built a rink in Durham, you could have a very successful team and club very, very quickly. I'm sure people will go back and watch that. I think there's still a hunger for a team in Durham, and I would love to see a team there. Okay, I think 35 minutes. We will knock this on the head. Thank you very, very much for joining. As usual, a London team would be huge. Put the AHL on the map. I'm not so sure, Chris. I think the problem with London is it's so big. You need 2 London teams to create a rival. We want one north and one south. I think one London team just doesn't do it. I think you need 2. Would be the ideal. So you could probably have, say, one Croydon way as an example, and one, say, in Wembley. Then you've got the nice north-south rivalry there. I just don't think one London team does it, to be perfectly honest. Okay, we shall leave it there. Thanks ever so much for joining. I will be back sometime soon. Fresh Cut magazine, I believe, will be out after the World Championships. Oh, quick one. Do I think Panthers will sign Jack Hopkins? Not at the moment. I think eventually, but I do think that Jack Hopkins maybe will look abroad because I think he's good enough to go overseas. I'd be delighted if Panthers did sign him. I don't think they will at the moment because he's still only 16, 17. However, I think his destiny probably lies higher than the Elite League because I think he's that good. He's that good a goal scorer. So we will see what happens with him over the next, certainly over the next 3 years. Definitely want to keep an eye on what he's doing. Okay, thank you very much for joining. I will see you again soon. If you get on Twitter, please retweet this out. It'd be great to get more people watching. But thanks for your company. Thanks for the questions, and I'll speak to you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.